Stream, go live. Should be connected. There we go. All right, ladies, we should be live. Happy Wednesday. Guys, good news. We are going to have AC here soon in my house, and I cannot tell you how excited I am. So we are starting the day with wins and excitement over here in the Williams house. I have a special treat for you guys, but before we talk about what that looks like, I'm going to pop out our comments so I can see you guys engaging. And we are ready to rock and roll. So a few things first. One, guys, you know the drill here. As of now, we are on day 3. So comment below live if you were joining me live, and comment replay if you were joining me on replay. So I want to make sure that, one, you're catching this later if you are at work or if you can't jump in right now. And then if you are here with me live, make sure you guys just lean in. Engage in the comments, drop all kinds of wins, all those kind of good things. So the more that you engage, the more that you can get back and receive. So lean in. Today is one of my, I love talking mindset. I absolutely love it for a few reasons. Number one, this thing is so powerful, so powerful. And what's crazy is that if this isn't in place, so many other things get restricted. And especially comes into play in our fitness and nutrition space where it's like, oh, I'm just going to do more. And when a lot of the times we need to reframe a lot of the things that we're thinking and how we're thinking about stuff. And so today I've got a lovely guest, Britt, that is going to be joining us here in a second. She's one of our Chaseland Fitness coaching clients. She's been in the program for about 90 days. And we just had our 90-day kickoff call actually yesterday, 2 days ago. See, all my days are running together. But I'm excited for her to share her own story, and I'm excited for her to just be here present with you guys. She's been such a joy to be. I've had enjoyed being her coach, and she is a joy to have in our program. But what we want to cover today, and I want to get you guys prepped and ready before I bring her on, and her getting to share her story. And today, when we talk about mindset, I'm going to have the Chase coach hat on. So Coach Chase is here today. And it's going to look a little bit different than our other 2 calls. So our other 2 calls are a little bit more like engaging, talking about a little bit more about what you guys are going through. And those are all great. And it's so cool to get some checklist things to do, right? And to have more things to take care of. But today I want to ask permission before I jump in, because I go a little hardcore when it comes to mindset stuff. And what I mean by hardcore is I'm probably going to say some things, and I'm going to call you forward into making I want you to think about some stuff. And Brett can probably share with you, when I call you forward, it's not out of a space of you got to do better. It's out of a space that from a heartfelt care. And what's really cool about that is having someone in your space that's going to hold you to a higher standard. That you guys already hold yourselves to a high standard, but having someone hold you to a higher standard where they see more for you is something totally different. And so today I'm going to give you guys a little bit of what that experience might look like in concerns to how I coach, in concerns to bringing you forward in your thought processes and calling out some things that you probably are not realizing you're doing. And what's cool is when you think about working with a coach, or when you are working with a coach, they get to see, so here's you, and you're inside this cookie jar. And the cookie jar is super fun over here, and you're doing all the things, and you see all the cookies, and you see the chocolate chips, and you see the crumbs. And what a coach does is they see what's on the outside of the cookie jar. And they're looking at this cookie jar, seeing all the labels on the outside. They see the crumbs hanging out on the floor on the counter. They see the lid that's kind of topped over and not fully on. That's what a coach does. And they see and hear things that you might not notice you're doing, or even saying, or even thinking, or even helping you word things in a way that you're like, oh, I didn't realize I needed to reframe that. Okay. And that's what working with a coach does. That's what having someone in your corner helps you do. And so I want to ask permission before we jump in. Do I have permission to coach you today on this live? And if you're someone that gets kind of offended or feel offended, I do not want you to listen to today's training. Which you're probably like, what? No, I'm serious. I want you to really lean in, because I'm going to we're going to talk about some stuff. So if I have your permission to continue, drop a permission in the comments so that I know that you're like, Chase, I said yes. And drop it in the comments, okay? Drop it in the comments, write permission. So as I said, we're going to go a little bit, we're going to go in, we're going to dive in because I want y'all to leave this 4-day container different, not the same you. And we're going to make some shifts and we're going to make some changes. So let's jump in. I'm excited to bring on my amazing client, Britt. Okay, let's see if I can do this. We can do it.
Hi.
Yay! Britt, so excited to have you. So, hey, let's jump in. I know you got to hear a little bit of the spiel here of like what we're going to be covering.
Yes.
And being a Chaselin Fitness client. So before we jump in, like give us our story. Like you're a mom, all the things. Like you and your husband work together in partnership as well at home. So give us kind of the rundown of what you are, who you are, personality traits, all that kind of good stuff.
So I am a stay-at-home mom. Before this, I worked on staff at a church in guest relations, executive assistant, high-level type stuff. Decided to become a stay-at-home mom. Eventually ended up deciding to homeschool. But on top of all that, I added in, I loved working. So I went and found another company to work for, and I did executive assistant work for them. And so I put myself in positions where I'm constantly on the go. We would work out as a family at a CrossFit gym. We're active outdoors, going on bike rides and all the things. So it's just, we are an active family.
I love it. And what were some of the things? So before you came on to Chaselin Fitness, and talk me through a little bit of your like family dynamics and things that you guys did as a family outside of like working out and being active. But what are some things that you kind of were experiencing prior to coming on with Chaselin Fitness?
So one of the big things that I remember, even like when I did my initial consult, was I was making 3 meals for breakfast, one for one child, one for another, one for myself, and maybe an extra one for my husband, depending on the day. And in that moment, I was challenged or encouraged that I only need to make one by Chase. And it was in that moment I'm cringing inside as she's telling me, no, one meal. And I'm realizing I have an issue. I have an absolute issue. And I was like, oh my goodness, what is this? And I'm a people pleaser. And I had no clue. Absolutely no clue about it.
What when you say some of those initial conversations, because I remember on our first couple of calls, like you were like trying to figure out what the rhythm would look like. I mean, being a homeschool mom, being someone that like signs up and helps and supports and does a lot of bit of leadership type stuff. What are some things that you were like, I need this flow to work together? What are some things you were experiencing, like other than making 3 meals a day, but like, or 3 meals every time, like you get a meal and you get a meal. Like, what were some things that you were experiencing schedule wise or resistant wise, all that kind of stuff?
So, schedule wise, I was serving in our youth ministry. I was leading a Bible study. I also volunteer in a high capacity in other ways whenever there's like random needs. I was also leading the middle school age group at our church on Sunday mornings and managing that roster. So I was doing a lot of that stuff on top of throwing in some work with my husband. And thankfully it was close to the end of the school year, but that was on top of that. And then the fact that we had just moved here maybe a year ago, so we're getting acclimated, we're still getting settled. The furniture isn't necessarily where I want everything. So it was just a lot going in different directions. It felt like nothing was coming together.
Yeah. And how was nutrition and fitness like kind of fitting in during that time? Like what were you feeling and experiencing in that space?
So for nutrition, most of the time, I don't necessarily think I overeat. I think I stop eating. Like, it's like, oh, let me take care of everybody else, fix the meal. Oh, I'll eat whatever's left over on the plate, or not be intentional about it. Grab something quick that isn't fueling me actually, but like it's just to fill a little bit.
Mhm.
And then, so that was the nutrition piece. The exercise, it was more about like if it worked around everybody else. And I wasn't filling my cup so I could fill others.
Yeah. Like that when you look at the schedule, you're like, okay, I'll take care of you. I'll take care of you.
Yep.
Your schedule, your routine, da, da, da. Maybe mom will get a workout. Maybe I'll
Yes.
get to go hang out. And
And maybe I'll get lunch.
yeah, and maybe I'll eat. Guys, drop a relate in the comments if that lands for you, because I know a lot of you have probably been in that space where it's like, let me people please, let me support you. And as a mom, we already are a caretaker. Like that's
Yeah.
not like that's how God designed us. Like he
Yeah.
wants us to love on each other. He wants us to like that's what we do. We do our brains are made differently, right, than our husbands,
Mhm.
and we can handle things like in a flow like this a little bit easier.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what for you got you to the point? Like, what was kind of your breaking point where you're like, I need help. I need someone to walk through this season with me. And what were some of those things you were looking for in concerns to support?
So I was doing everything that I knew to do. I was trying to get out and work out. I had joined the CrossFit gym with my husband, and it was just adding another thing to my to-do list, another box to check off, which then I had to race home and make dinner. And I wasn't seeing the progress that I needed to see. I was actually not, my energy level was down, my weight was going up, and I was doing what I thought were all the right things. And it just wasn't mathing, I guess is the best
Yeah.
way to put it. Like XYZ, but like it's not equaling what it's supposed to.
Yeah. So, what were when you're trying to put all the pieces together? Was there a moment where you're like, I'm done, and then you like reached out? Because I don't remember. Did you? Were you in? I think you just started following me. I can't remember how we got connected.
So I saw something you had posted, and then I clicked on the Instagram and I saw that a lady from our church actually
Oh,
followed you.
that's what it was.
And
Yeah.
so I was like, you know what? That lady at my church, like, she's a solid lady. I was like, I'm going to reach out because I need something. I know in general, I'm a type person that accountability is a huge thing for me. If someone's like walking it out, doing it with me, holding me accountable right there, I am going to show up and I'm going to make progress.
That's so good. How was the conversation with your husband when you guys decided, like, I'm hiring a coach? Like, what did that conversation look like?
It was actually really easy because my husband has a coach for work,
Yeah.
but it was more about what I needed, and he wanted me healthy. And so it the biggest thing that came into, I guess, play was like, okay, what does this look like financially for me and our family? And are we willing to invest in my health to be better able to serve our family?
Yeah.
So
I love it. What were some of, now that you've kind of, I mean, you're 30 days in, like 90 days, like one, it's gone by really fast. I'm like, oh my gosh, like we already had our 90-day call, which is super fun. But what are some things that you have shifted? Let's talk about some of your wins, maybe non-scale wins,
mhm.
and in concerns to your mindset shifting, mindset changing, things that you have worked on that has helped create consistency and changes in your home and like for you physically.
So the biggest one I think was even just the breakfast thing. It it was right off the bat, and I kid you not, everything in me was like tore up, like thinking that I was not going to be able to like make 3 meals. Why? That sounds silly, but I just like was like, oh, I don't know how this is going to go. Everybody's going to be like upset. But we talked through it and we came up with a plan, and then I did the plan and the kids loved it and they're on task. They know what they want. So that was one of the big ones. But then I think more recently, I was just chatting through how I was handling things and how I wasn't showing up for myself. But it was more about I just had too much on my plate. And sometimes we can spin plates in the air and have 10 different things going on, but you're not giving 100% to everything. And I generally don't give 100% to myself. And so in that moment, I felt like I was supposed to quit something, and I had even thought about it before, like months before, but you challenged me on it. You're like, you know, it might be, even though you enjoy these things, maybe you need to put something down. And it was, the only way to say it is like Holy Spirit moment. Just, you spoke directly to what I had just thought about. And it was like, okay, God, I hear you. And this isn't going to be my best in this season unless I put my best effort forward. And I can't do it with 10 other things on my plate.
Yes.
Yes.
I get it. And FYI, those of you that are like watching and I'm like crying, I cry on like a lot of our calls. So, so good, because here's what happened post that. Like that was about a month and a half ago, maybe six weeks at the most.
Oh yeah.
And what's cool, and I want to kind of share a little bit about that story, is when you have someone that can see, like as I said earlier, outside the cookie jar, able to watch and see and be a part of it. Like I could, even when you came on the call, like I could feel the tension and see the resistance in you, you know.
Yeah.
And having a coach in your corner, whether, and even though it's like fitness and nutrition, all like God designed us in a way, like he has to be first, he has to be in the middle.
Yeah.
He's in the middle of everything, right? And when he's in the middle, all the other things can start to chill out. But if one is over here and one is down here, like you're lopsided. And then plates, like they all have to be kind of in balance. And when they're tell that day when you had got on that call, and I could see that you were in some sort of something and allowing you, and all I did was ask a certain couple of questions, and it allowed you that space to go, oh, instead of putting off that thought, instead of pushing it down and being like, I'm not going to worry about it right now, I'm going to power through, you were able to release, you were able to like reflect on your own space and your own schedule and your own routines and all of those things to be able to make the next best decision moving forward. And it's not necessarily like when you work with a coach, and maybe you can kind of touch, do you feel that, you know, in being part of Chaseland Fitness, do you feel like you're being told what to do or being like discovering for yourself?
No, I definitely feel like it's more of a discovery. It's, you'll ask questions and you'll coach me through like how to get to the answers sometimes, but after the revelation has actually happened. So like, okay, yeah, I thought of something that I really need to put down. Okay, well, let's go ahead and like, this is what that'll look like. So there's no like, hey, this is what you have to do. It's questions, aha moment on my part, and then, okay, well, let's get you there.
Yeah. Yeah. Where you're in realization, you're the one discovering, you're the one saying, this is what I need, this is what I'm experiencing, this is how I need to change it. And that comes to also like some of weekly, even on a weekly regimen, right? Where we're like, okay, you know, like it's like, what did I do this past week? What worked? What didn't work? What needs to happen next week? And that's what creates that rhythm. That's what creates that consistent good stuff. Absolutely love it. So when you think about like, you know, just sharing with the ladies listening right now, like what are some of your, maybe it's hesitations that you had or some thoughts you had prior to joining the program? And then what would you tell them now, like being in the program? Like what, I don't know, like tips or whatever going like now, now that you've like been 90 days in.
Hesitations would have probably been, okay, am I going to get out of this what I'm putting, like, is the value worth it? Like, am I going to stick to it? Am I going to show up? Like, and I was at a point where I pretty much like, I was all bought in because I didn't like, I was done. And so those were my biggest concerns. However, now I don't think I can put value on the headspace and the just like tools that I've come up with you to like be able to manage life and feel like I'm not failing but I'm actually like winning. Like, and it may not, winning doesn't look the same like it doesn't look like the scale going down. Winning is actually like being able to show up mentally and emotionally for my family because I'm not stressed because I chose to go work out instead. Because now I have the realization that, oh, I'm feeling like super anxious and irritable. I need to go work out because that helps me. So when I feel those moments, I'm like, oh, I need to go move now instead of allowing that to consume me and then getting frustrated again afterwards.
I love it. Love it. So many wins. And as your coach, like I've seen the progress over the last couple of months. Like every week when we have our coaching calls and watching you like show up every single week, and even in the hard weeks where you're like, we're both crying on the calls.
Oh,
like
that was awful.
even in those moments, like I know. It's so good. It's so good. So ladies, I want you to comment right now. Comment Britt if you just related to anything that she shared. Give her a quick little shout out, like, hey, I related to this. Hey, I related to that. Give her some love. She took some time out of her day to come and speak a little bit about her story and share a little bit of the things that she has implemented in her home and her story and all of those good things. And I hope you guys are encouraged by her and encouraged by her story, encouraged by her words. And I pray, similar to what we've experienced, like I pray that the Holy Spirit has spoken to you through her. So I absolutely think it. So Britt, thank it. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And we will talk soon because I know you're leaning in and doing all the things. But again, thank you so much. All right, ladies. Well, we're gonna kind of shift gears here. I do want to lean in. So again, make sure you guys comment Britt, comment Britt, comment Britt. Give her some shout out, give her some love in the comments below, and just kind of acknowledge her and support her because again, she came out of her day to lean in and give you guys a little bit of loving. So first couple of things I want to lean into is we're talking about mindset shifts for consistency. And I know Britt shared this as well on her story is when you work with a coach, it's not the gain you get from working with someone in this capacity or in this closeness sometimes isn't about just a fitness routine or eat your protein. There's a lot of layers to it. And especially as a mom who I know all of you guys carry so much. And what I mean by carry is we are the mental load. There's a lot of mental load that we carry as a mom. And especially you high achievers here in this group being like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I can do this. I can carry on more. Like I can take on more. And so I want you to know that like you are seen. You are seen. And I fully understand it. The ladies in our program fully understand it. And when you have people around you to lean on and to feel supported, that's where shifting starts to happen. But what really needs to start here is here in the mindset. And being a high achiever, and when we take on more, we think we can do it. But a lot of that comes from a control mechanism. Like, let me control this. Let me control this. Let me just take that on because either A, you can do it, right? Like we're capable of doing it. B, like it feels painful to ask for help, where it's a struggle to ask for help. Or you're coming from a space of like, they need me more than I need myself. And that's also not a healthy space to be living in. Right. And, oh my gosh, it came in my brain and then went out of my brain. But what is that Bible verse where it talks about, the mindset where God gives us a healthy mind? Oh my gosh, I'm going to Google it really quick. Mindset Bible verse. I like went in my brain and then went away. But it says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. There we go. Thank you, Google, because that was the one in my brain. But what that means is like, if you're working on this and you're leaning into the growth of your mindset and paying attention to it and like leaning into it, like that's where growth happens, right? We don't want to be just told by this world, be skinnier, like get toned, drop body fat, you'll be worthy and you'll be, like I'm only worthy if I'm skinny, like those kind of thought processes. No, when a lot of the time, like, yes, we want to get into a healthy space where food and nutrition and workouts and moving your body, like as Britt even said, like it's not about just the weight loss. It's about having the mental clarity to be the best mom she could be for her kids, right? It's to be able to say, hey, I need to step back a little bit so I can take care of me. Those are the type of things like we want to be leaning into. And that's where the mindset shifting starts to come into play, is even though that we're leaning into the growth and like we do want our body and we want to be toned and we want to feel good and we want to reflect that in our, physique. There's also other things to think about when it comes to why do we work out? Why do we move? Why do we eat well? And like all of it starts to kind of come into play. And so here are the 3 shifts I want you guys to think about. And maybe this is where you guys kind of start to write some stuff down. But number 1 is I want you to go from more to like knowing that you are enough. Okay? It doesn't need to be more things on your to-do list. It's not, I need to work out 5 times a week. I need to do this. I need to meal prep every single meal. I need to have 50 million proteins created on Sunday to like be enough, right? Or to be worthy. Or if I do those things, then. So you don't need to do those things, but what you can, and you still can get results from having 3 to 4 consistent workouts where you're consistent every single week. It's not Sunday through Sunday, running 6 workouts, 7 workouts a week. But where you get to that 3 or 4 is on a consistent basis every single week. And they're not just like random, they're intentional. You're present on those workouts. You're leaning into the mind and body connection, just not random. And so I want you to go like think about that. Like it's not about doing more to equal enough. And on the flip side of that, when you think about nutrition, it's not endless rules. And I know we touched on that on our nutrition training the other day. It's not about endless rules, endless restriction. Oh, only 1,200 calories. Oh, I'm only on a deficit. You need to get in the, the proper amounts of protein, make sure we're consuming whole foods and create that rhythm that Britt was sharing, right? What is that family rhythm that can be done every single week where everyone's a part of it? Not you doing more stuff to make the rhythm happen. It's how can everyone kind of flow together? How can you flow together? How can you guys still have proteins and whole foods and it all be part of the normal thing while also getting into that healthy body that feels good? Like, hey, I moved my body intentionally today and now I feel good to be present for my kids, just as Britt shared. So if you've ever believed in that space of, okay, more is better, more to-do lists, more checklists, if you've ever believed that, I want you to comment enough. Because you are enough. Okay? You are enough. Oh, I'm going to try to tear up. All right, number 2. I want you from controlling to surrendering. So number 1 was from more to enough. Number 2 is from control to surrender. What we do here is we don't have to micromanage every single thing that goes into our body. Let me look at the calories. Let me look at the ingredients. Let me look at this. Let me look at that. Let me make sure it fits my macros. Let me make sure it does this. Where every single thing around the food becomes a chore and it has to be micromanaged and it's a mental load. It is a full-on mental load. Let me control this. Let me control that. And it is a constant mental heaviness. And it doesn't have to come from this micromanaging space. What really starts to make that shift is when you surrender, right? You surrender and you allow that rhythm to be the thing that creates that confidence in your flow. That rhythm allows you to kind of move and mold through everything. Then you start, that's where the confidence comes. You're like, yeah, I got this in a bag. Like, this is great. It's because you surrender to the process and you allow a little bit out of a time to like progress into the next thing. So it doesn't have to be like super micro controlled. Guys, I used to live in the control mechanism and I still struggle. I still struggle. But when you're allowed to let go and allow God to take that, it is such a healthy space and allowing you to be in that surrender mode. And you're able to trust that you're able to show up consistently. That is more powerful than being obsessed over the perfectionism of all the things. So if you've ever been that person that you were trying to control everything, guys, I used to get so crazy. I just want to like add this. I used to get so crazy about, we would do birthday parties and like, if the things, this is just part of the control. I want you to kind of relate to this. The control of like the little pieces of the paper on the table were turned like this and not like this, like full on control. Not only did I do that at like all the small things from like making it all look so perfect. I did the exact same thing in my food. I did it around my food. I did it around my workouts. I did it around like checking off every single mile had to be hit perfectly when I did marathon training. That's what I mean by control. And yes, there needs to be a high standard to how you do those rhythms, but there also needs to be this level of like surrender to where that controlling aspect is not the thing that takes over your life. Because food and nutrition and working out should not be something that is such a heavy load to your thought process. That was number 2. So comment surrender if that related. Comment surrender. All right, number 3. We're going to go from perfectionism to presence. You're probably like, what? Guys, you don't need everything to be absolutely perfect. Your routine doesn't need to be perfect. Your workout doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. If you missed a rep or 2, it's okay. If you had an off week and you're on your period and maybe you didn't lift the PR, it's okay. You don't need to have perfect macros every single day. But what you do need is to be present. You got to show up for today. You got to show up and give yourself a little bit of grace. Not an excuse, a little bit of grace. Because what happens is when you do your progress and that consistency will compound over time. It'll compound over time. Not the start and stop every time life is not perfect. And even though, again, relating back to like a little bit of my own story here, is even though I was a controlling, guess what that led to? After all of the control mechanisms, it was like nothing. And I felt that I had to follow a Beachbody shake plan or isogenic shake plan or whatever the next plan was. And I did that for years. The first couple of years that I was on my fitness journey, where I was like, I have to follow that because those people say that this is how it's supposed to be done. That's what health looks like. You have to follow a shake program. Absolutely not. So it doesn't have to be perfect, because when you try and be so perfect over here, not like there's no room for error. And there is sin in the world. And yes, we were created in his image, but like it's messy. It's messy down here on earth. And so trying to hold your standards to this perfectionism or to like this all or nothing mindset where it's like only all in here, all in there, or it's not perfect. Or I can't do it. Or I'm doing nothing at all. And that's what creates this yo-yo habits. This is why you yo-yo. This is what happens in your health journey when you follow that. All or nothing. Not cool. And so when you go from perfectionism to a little bit more of this being present, it compounds over time, and it allows it, you can start to create that rhythm. So if perfectionism has ever been a part of your process, I want you to type in present, because that's what we're shifting to today. And I just want to share here, like, this is why what I do inside Chaseland Fitness and why I left another partnership program or fitness company I was with, is because I was not teaching on the whole picture. There's so much that comes into fitness and nutrition and your home. And to create a household of health, guess what? It's not in just the type of food you eat. It's not in just having a perfect workout. It's in the mindset too. And I've had a couple of clients say, well, I thought I had to do more workouts in order to earn my food, right? And if any of you said, well, oh, I'm going to have chips and salsa, so I'll just do an extra workout. But there's a way that you can actually fuel your body in a way to tone and to drop body fat without obsession and to make it all work together. So when you start shifting that mindset around this space, your actions start shifting, your habits and your routines. And guess what happens when that happens? Results follow. They follow those mechanisms, right? Like when you start looking at it all differently and you change your thought process around some of these things, results will follow. It's a compound process. All right, I went a little over time today. I want you to, hopefully you got some value. Hopefully you got some value. So, and if you did, I want you to comment value. Y'all know the drill. Comment value if you got any takeaways from today. And when we get done, I want you to go comment in the group your takeaways, maybe some wins that you want to share. But what is your biggest takeaway when it comes to mindset? And I want you to go add that into the Facebook group. And then here too, I want to call some of you forward, because if you're tired of doing more, not getting anywhere, as Britt even shared, like felt like I was doing all the things, it's time to book your strategy call. So I'm going to add that into the caption here in a little bit. That strategy call is going to help give you a little bit of clarity around maybe outside view of that cookie jar, where you've got goals and talk about what you need to be doing, what needs to change, what's getting in the way of what you want to create. Okay, so if you, whatever that looks like for you, just comment strategy. Me and my team will make sure you get that link so you can get booked in. But I just want you to know, like, you don't need to be controlling everything in order to see progress, okay? You just need a little bit more clarity and structure and the right mindset to keep showing up for yourself, okay? Guys, I love you, and homework will be posted here in a little bit. All right, love you guys. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Okay, bye.